I'd like you to imagine just for a moment that as you leave the Northcott tonight, you're told that you're not going home. The people who are saying this are saying it's for the best. Maybe it's a relative, doctor or nurse, people you would normally trust. But here they are saying, you must get into this ambulance and come to hospital. Admittedly, you've not quite felt yourself lately. You keep forgetting, and your world has slid out of focus at times. Sometimes you've doubted yourself and others around you, and then a moment later, you can remember with pinpoint clarity playing in the garden with your brother and sister. All the senses come flooding back. The smell of the roses, your socks that would never stay up, your sister's small hand in yours. It may have been 50 years ago. That's irrelevant to you and lost on the people you're trying to tell. Their eyes glaze over. They nod, if you're lucky. You cannot name the feeling this evokes, but you feel it. You arrive at your destination. You have no idea where you are or why you're here. Why is it that we continue to get things so wrong in the ways we engage with and care for people living with dementia? Could it be that we avoid facing this, one of the big questions of our time, because it would mean facing up to our own vulnerability? There is no cure for dementia. Medication may slow the disease process for a while and may help reduce some of the symptoms. But what more can we do? There is a universal human need to love and be loved, to belong. So often in my work as an occupational therapist, I meet people who feel lost in every sense, whose sense of who they are is so fragile, it's almost as if it's slipping away before our eyes. How do we strengthen people's connection, not just to themselves, but to people and places they've known, to what matters to them? Because it's this sense of belonging, of having a place in the world, which lies at the heart of creating a better quality of life for people living with dementia. We don't exist in isolation. We all need the company of others, things to do, and a safe place to be ourselves. When Peter, an intelligent, funny, well-travelled man, calls out to me because he's frightened, he doesn't know where he is, what he should be doing, or why he's in hospital, what does he need? Another cognitive test? This has its place, of course, but what we're looking at here are emotional and spiritual needs. And to meet these, we need to shift the focus from what people can't do and focus instead on their strengths. So how do we do this? By alchemy, we bring together three elements: the environment, the senses, and the arts. Together, these can be transformative, having the potential to create joy, beauty, and meaning. As cognition declines, people increasingly rely on their senses to make sense of the world and to feel anchored. When Peter and I go for a walk by the river, he loves the feel of the sun on his face. We stop for a coffee, his first real coffee in a while. In the cafe, Peter listens intently to the music, something Asian, and tells me a story of his travels I've not heard before. As we pass the boats on our way back, he puts his hand on my shoulder saying, "Wait a minute, just look, it's beautiful." And then throwing his arms wide, he cries, "I'm alive." And this is why, when it comes to designing environments for people living with dementia, sensory awareness should be at the heart of the design process. Whether we're conscious of it or not, the physical environment affects us all. When we walk into a building, how does it make us feel? Does it feel welcoming? Can we find our way around easily? For someone with dementia, a cluttered, noisy environment can be overstimulating and confusing, and equally a bland environment can produce a bland response and a feeling of disconnection. Thanks to schemes such as the King's Fund's Enhancing the Healing Environment programme, we have a much clearer understanding of supportive design in dementia care. Good lighting, non-shiny flooring, using colour and artwork to aid wayfinding, clear signage, familiar domestic-scale rooms, and access to the outdoors. All this will help reduce distress and confusion. A variety of spaces offers choice and helps people find the right level of sensory stimulation, supporting them to feel calmer and more alert. Combined with skilled care, the environment can be a valuable therapeutic resource. Even in advanced dementia, the emotional, the creative, and the aesthetic parts of the brain remain intact. The arts encourage meaning-making and storytelling, engaging people on a profound, often non-verbal and emotional level, conveying meanings that are both personal and universal. And it's this which gives us a way in, sparking connections, taking away the need to remember and offering instead the freedom to imagine. There are no wrong answers here. A healing environment is dynamic and engaging rather than passive and simply pleasant on the eye. Let me show you what I mean. This is one of my favourite photos taken during an art consultation session for a local dementia ward that was being redesigned. This woman is speaking animatedly about walking on the moor as a girl. Many hours later, she still remembered. For many people, this painting evokes strong feelings of safety and serenity. Any painting that could do that was definitely going up on the wall. And here is some of the beautiful artwork created in the hospital with local artists in a true spirit of collaboration. In this hospital, themed areas were purposely designed to reflect the Devon landscape and to encourage personal connections. An ex-merchant Navy officer, Tom, would regularly walk from his cabin to the coastal area, falling asleep in an armchair beneath a painting of the sea, surrounded by familiar maritime objects which anchored him emotionally. Sometimes it can be everyday objects which spark a connection. I remember a woman in her 60s, I'll call her Mary, who was fearful and agitated. Her only words were, "I'm frightened," and in her fear she often hit out at others. We knew very little about Mary, only that she'd been a paediatric nurse. I was really struggling to find a way of connecting with Mary, of helping to ease her distress. I noticed that Mary often wore brightly coloured clothes, and following this tenuous link, I showed her some paint charts like these. Straight away, she matched the colour of her cardigan to the chart, which brought a hint of a smile. This continued over the following days, and then there was something else. She began to sing nursery-type rhymes whilst gently stroking the colours. The next day, she beckoned me over with a smile, asking, "Have you got any colours today?" We moved on to a collection of coloured balls. Mary adored this one. She would speak to it gently and hold it with such tenderness. It became her way of connecting with others as she offered it to them, to hold or admire. My feeling was that Mary had found a way of reconnecting with that caring role of her nursing days. She'd found meaning and a place in the world again. Dementia is everyone's responsibility. All of us here at some point in our lives is likely to be affected by it in one way or another. So let's bring together people from all walks of life, carers, health professionals, teachers, architects, town planners, artists, gardeners, children, and in a spirit of collaboration and kindness, create a genuine sense of belonging. What if, throughout people's journey with dementia, there was easy access to allotments, orchards and walking groups, playing and listening to music, dancing and art classes, visiting museums, theatres and art galleries, bringing joy and beauty and feelings of self-worth? Would that not be a more compassionate and enriching experience for all of us? But most importantly, we need to listen with an open heart to people living with dementia, who, like Peter, Tom and Mary, will help us live our way into the answer. And let us hope that if our time comes, someone will listen to us. Thank you.